All right. There was a big tournament which was put on by the Japanese Karate, Shotokan Karate Federation. And what it is that they had a team fighting. The five-man team, that if we, whoever won at this big tournament at City College would fight the Waseda University from Japan. They were going to bring a five-man team and they were going to the Olympic auditorium. Okay, so we went there. I took my five-man team, and I was the only Kempo, at that time. And then, so what happened is that on the actual fighting, my team literally, an example, we all had to wear white gi, and then we were moving around and stuff like this. So first, Al Newton comes up, and it's a team fighting. He comes up and he does a front ball kick so well, it's perfect, and it's like a footprint because the floor is dirty, and footprint on a white gi right over the guy's heart. No point. No point. I'm serious. We went there after he shoot that right here, come right back, bang, we shoot right across the neck. No point. Okay, so the whole time it was like this. Nishiyama had this guy named Naoki. He was supposed to be the fastest hand, and I knew he was real fast. He had an awesome right hand, So then I had Freddie Perales from Nicaragua pair off with him, Freddie was a soccer player, and I told Freddie, kick his hand. Don't worry about anything else, just kick him. He kept kicking his hand like this here and literally broke this thing up here. Okay, but nothing, no point. The same thing. We went from one to the next. I don't know, literally, took the guy, took him outside of the ring, everything. Not enough power. So at that moment, I had my girls' exhibition team that were going to perform. The girls all came up and said, Sensei, we want to leave. We're not going to do the demo at the Olympic auditorium. We don't want to do it. If they're cheating us so much, let's leave. So I took my team, halfway through the thing, we just left. But in our heart we knew we won and we beat them, and and then after that we were always invited to different places, different, like Kubota and Oshima. At that time they had Nishiyama and Oshima were fighting because it's the same thing, taking over the school, the system. So this is all the introduction of Kempo, how we started. When we came here, it wasn't something I said, okay, like everything else, you come out and then you start, because nobody knew what it was. Really, and then so literally we have to go out and then say, hey, this is Kempo. Now, we all do the same thing. When you really think about it, all came from the same place. Okay, so only thing, different people. Taekwondo use a lot of high kicks simply because the Koreans were long-legged. Japanese don't kick above all the kicks are just below the waist, simply because the Japanese were short and then they're stocky. So all right. So what is it? It's just a different, or how people put different things into it. Aikido, all they did was Aikido, put it together with the karate. So all karate come from the same thing, All right. So what happened is that, this is the introduction to Kempo. This is why, we brought Kempo in. So because Kempo is everything that I knew on all these different arts, which from kids I already picked it up: Aikido, Judo, Kendo, boxing. The same as, that's why the word Kaji Kempo came from. All right, so it's all the combination. So what we did was we took Hawaiian Kempo and then we put all of this different combination
in it.
Okay, everybody would ask me, well, is your Hawaiian Kempo same as John Hackerman? John Hackerman is the trainer for one of the champions. you know, it's from the same family, because John Hackerman's sensei was my student way back with Sonny Gascon. Okay, when we started Kaji Kempo, or when we started Kempo in California, it was between me, okay, Sonny Gascon. Sonny Gascon is one of the strongest Filipinos that ever came from Hawaii. Okay, and then we were together, and also again he was Kaji Kempo. Okay, so Sonny Gascon. Oh, okay. Then we went out, and then we called because we couldn't use only Hawaiian Kempo. What happened is that now Sonny Gascon named his one not Shorenjin. Yeah, I think it's Shorenjin Kempo or whatever it's called. Okay, all right. And then I had the Shiso people. Shiso people came, and then because everybody wanted to establish a name, you know, and to me it's the same thing because we're all under the same umbrella, you know. So I said, fine, you guys want to go, same like, you know, like I would, if I was the person, I would, you know, do the same thing, you know. I know I train with a certain style or certain people or certain sensei, but then I want to establish my own name. So same as you go out there and then you start your own name, but you're under the same umbrella.
Right. Okay.
All right. So what it is that when we started our Kempo system, Sonny Gascon, oh God, you know, there were 3 or 4 other people. We had 5 people that were really, you know, because they're so versed in the art. What happened is that they would give their, you know, their input, you know. So we designed directional foot movements, hand techniques, okay, technique, and foot technique, and then design it to it becomes a waza. So these are, no matter what rank, in the kata is the same thing. We have 5 sets of the Kempo kata. We have 5 sets of the Shitoryu kata. And then we have 5 sets of the Shotogan kata. So these are like versatile. In other words, you see how flexible you are, how strong you are, you know, and stuff like that. These are all designed into our thing. These are the only things that you should really master, because it's every foot movement you can think of in reality of the directional foot movement. All the judo throws. Okay. Now, in our style, the judo throws, you have to know it as shoulder throw or seonage. Okay. One arm shoulder throw or ippon seonage. The reason for that is so that we can take a person from my school and put them into a Kodokan tournament, and they know all what they're talking about. So, you know, these are all the different things. They're versed, you know, I mean, they're versed in judo as well as in karate, you know, as well as in everything that they're versed in is, you know, okay. So we created this system, and then we studied it. We really studied it, okay? So now in our curriculum, you have to know these different things, you know? And then what happened is that from there, if you want to be creative, you can come out and add to it, okay? But in reality, when we go back to the examination, you have to do it the way you were taught, you know? Because that you're not going away from it, okay? Now, it's good for a person to learn how to create something, okay? But in forms, in kata, a lot of times the kids will say, well, I don't want to learn how to dance, you know, because they don't, you know. And the reason for the kata is that at one time it was the training of black belts, of self-training. You know, you can repeat it, it's a repeated thing, but it's self-training. Okay, so you're doing this thing, each time it looks different. Okay, for the kid, what it is learning how to visualize. You know, on an adult, you can say somebody's right there is attacking you with a stick or whatever. You can visualize that. A kid can't. Okay. So what happens is that when you do a kata to a kid, what he's doing is he's learning how to do this or only movement. But then as he perfects it, it becomes a visual. So that's what, and that's what you accomplish. So by the time they become a teenager, when you're doing, all these different things, they mean something. Okay. So, again, it's, everything is been, we take a package and then we hand it to you, and this is a Kempo package. All right. And then, it's what you make of it. Okay. Creative, everybody can be creative. And the creativeness is really beautiful, because as long as it means something. Okay. I'm one of the best judges as far as kata. And they always ask me, every time they always ask me, I never favors anybody. Chuck Norris, when he used to fight, he used to ask, they wanted me, Chuck always wanted me to judge, because I don't say because I know you, I'm going to, but I know how much because you're in it for so long. If a punch is thrown, exactly, if it made contact, that guy, okay, so that means something. Kata. If a guy does a, boom boom like a gymnastic move, well, it's okay, but they have to have that finish. If he does a beautiful back double back flip and stuff like this, it comes out, but there's nothing, and then people will go like, actually, I had people come up and go, "Whoa, did you see that?" And I say, "Yeah, that was good, but it doesn't mean anything to me," And because I've been doing it for so long, All right, so all of these different things is kind of like, it's how we brought Kempo here, and then another thing in Brazil. Brazil used to be jiu-jitsu. I mean, the Gracies and Machados, they went over and it was. Every sports center that you go to, it was jiu-jitsu, and stuff like that. All right, but the attitude was different. If you teach somebody, how to become a good, good karate man or good, okay, you also have to teach them attitude, because it's not, if you're the bully, no matter how good you are, you're not good, okay? If you come out there and you literally clean up somebody and then you go over there and you apologize and stuff like this, you're a good person. So a good person means more, than how well it was, okay? Now, this is not a story. This is in Brazil. It used to be like this. Jiu-jitsu, you go, and if you go from one style to another style, and then you end up in a Japanese restaurant, and this is a fact. I went to the Japanese restaurant, and then because Roger had told me this is what happened in Brazil. I said, nah, it can't be. Okay, well, it's like the old West. You sit down. What style are you? It's like a Japanese movie, man. What style are you? Hey, your style is nothing. Next thing you know, they're talking about each other. Before you know it, they're fighting. I mean, 5 or 6 guys against another 5 or 6 guys, and they literally break the place up. Okay? So what happened is, I went to this one Japanese restaurant, they said, there, no jiu-jitsu. They have the right to, okay, but no jiu-jitsu. And that's why I asked, well, okay. And then I'm going like, oh my God, it's like, and we, we preach all the time, to the kids, you can learn, we'll teach you the art and stuff like this, but you don't go around beating up somebody or bullying somebody else, this is, you have respect, you have to respect, And then more important is not how good a fighter you are, but how good a person you are. You know, so this is what it is. Now, you know, and then so what happened is that we had we have a lot of Kempo schools, a lot of different Kempo schools, but then I don't really go and visit, you know, except under my own umbrella, because what it is sometimes, like I say, if you do something, you know, and you expect, you know, them to really respect the art and stuff like this, and then somebody else does Kempo for another reason, then, you know, it's kind of like, you know. So when you ask me about all these different people, I say, well, kind of like, you know, I don't want to say anything, but it's kind of like, you know, we try to keep, you know, within ourselves. Okay, I don't care what anybody else does, but then as far as my teachers, you know, I teach them love, and I mean, you know, it doesn't matter how much or how good a person you are as far as fighting and katas and stuff like this, but if you're not a good person, you know, to me, you know, you're nothing. Yeah. All right, so, and then another thing is like, in respect, all of these people that, you know, I come about that I have taught, or they were under my umbrella. You know, Benny was, you know, as a little kid, I had to go around slap his head. I mean, literally slap him on his head, you know, because a teenager, he would have been in jail at 16 years old, you know. So this is the kind of thing that, you know, when you come out and you say, well, you know, remember what my dad said, you know, someday you'll understand, you know. And then I go back and I mean, I have taught thousands of people, all right. And then, you know, and what happened is that, you know, these were like bad. Some of them were bad. They would have been in jail, you know. And then when they started learning, they started gaining respect and stuff like this. Well, you see it. You see it yourself all the time. Somebody comes in with an attitude, right? And then next thing you know, oh boy, he sees a little guy beating up, you know, and say, hey, I don't want to do that. So the whole attitude changes, you know. So it makes somebody who is real bad become a good person. Right. And then it makes a shy kid come up and he becomes you know, a real good person. All right. To me, what happened is that the most rewarding thing is that to see your students who were your students when they were younger, and then they come up and who became doctors and stuff like that. You know how they always say about it's a school that you go to. I had the Sioux boys. I had 4 Sioux boys that went to the worst school ever in Crenshaw. That's where the dad lived, you know. They had to almost fight their way home every time, you know, and it's a bad school. Yeah, but then yet they became all doctors, you know. So it's all that discipline that they had in their head and stuff. And I'm glad, and I have to say, you know, it came from me. You know, it's a lot of this, it came from me and stuff like this. I have letters, inspirational letters I have, you know. I have a letter from a kid from Argentina when he first came out here. He didn't even speak English, you know, and only way he could become some, you know, he had to go become a gang member, or, you know, become bad. I mean, he was bad, you know, and stuff like this. And he just saw me on Facebook. Then writes me this letter. I cried. I literally cried, because he always says that this is because of you, this is what I became, you know, and stuff like that. So we get letters and all the time and stuff like this. So it all goes back to someday
you'll know why.
You know, or someday you'll understand. So.